Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer, and this is day 14 of a build a day until they announce DLC. That's right, we're doing a build or build video every single day until they announce DLC, so be sure to subscribe if you want to check out tons of awesome builds as we wait for that inevitable DLC announcement, see how far we can go with this, and see how much fun we can have. In the meantime, we're doing the Dark Moon Greatsword for this build. So the Dark Moon Greatsword is obviously the sword that you get at the end of Ranni's questline. It's one of the legendary weapons in the game, and it's really fun to use. It's a fantastic weapon to use as a mage, and you can get additional frost on it with the weapon art, while also sending out beams that do a little bit of frost and good amounts of magic damage. This can be boosted by Terra Magica. We're going to go over builds, setup, stats, everything you'll need to know later. By the way, we're currently on Journey 11, taking on some field bosses and things that are around because we're at the end of the game, so there's not really any main game bosses left, but we're going to take on some different things, and the first thing we did was test the damage at Gatefront. So the main thing that I wanted to test was whether or not the Godfrey Icon truly worked on this, and it does. It actually does boost it. Initially, I tried it without it, and then I tried it with it. With it, I was doing more damage when you charge the beam attack with the R2. I'm on Xbox, so it would be R2. The other thing is, does the Spellblade set boost the damage of the weapon art? It does. It boosts every single magic damage Ash of War, so it boosts this as well, and you will get more damage out of using the Spellblade set with the Dark Moon Greatsword. And you'll get 2% additional damage for each piece of the set. I'm wearing 3 pieces of the Spellblade set, which totals 8% additional damage, so it is worth wearing if you're going to use the Dark Moon Greatsword or any magic Ash of War. Now, for our Ash of War, we can fully charge the beam, which obviously is going to give us the Godfrey Icon boost, so that's mainly what we're doing, and it hits around a mid-range. More importantly, though, you're going to see a posture break here shortly, because this actually does stance damage on the distance hits as well. I think it's like 30-something stance damage per hit, which is actually pretty good in a world since the nerfs where posture breaking is far and few between. It's pretty fantastic to be able to posture break from a distance. And we see him go down there after he finally had enough stance damage. So yeah, if you're able to keep the pressure up, keep those distance hits in using the Moonlight Greatsword, you're going to get some stance damage in, a little bit of frost, and a lot of magic damage. We're going to show a little bit later as we're able to utilize it better. That's also boosted by Terra Magica, and then we're using Golden Val and Howl Shabriri. My mage, by the way, is level 200, but I'm going to show you exactly what to do with the 150 stats, which is very easy to do at 150 simply for the fact that you only really need the minimum strength requirements and then a good amount of intelligence, and then faith is really if you want to do buffs. For the intelligence part, this weapon's Ash of War, along with the weapon itself, scales primarily with intelligence. It's going to scale best with intelligence, so that's going to be our primary stat in building a Dark Moon Greatsword build. If you notice, by the way, I'm mostly using the distance attack. It's simply for the fact that it's the most OP part about the weapon. If you're going for frost buildup, there's actually a whole bunch of Ashes of War and other weapons in the game that are going to build up frost faster. It's just decent at building up frost. As far as everything else goes, it's more about the damage you can get on the distance attacks, being able to buff it, using Terra Magica, and just being able to absolutely shred from a mid-range with the Dark Moon Greatsword. So we took on all different types of bosses. We're going to take on the Gargoyle and Kaled too, and I was actually surprised as to how much damage it did to him. But as far as the dragon here, he's a little bit of a pain with the whole rottenness and all that. I think I was looking for boluses and I didn't have any. Anyways, I went back in and I ended up killing him, and it didn't take too long to take him down. He's got around 30,000 HP, but he is weak to almost all damage types. In the meantime, though, let's talk about the beam. The beam itself is really fantastic. We've been talking about it a little bit so far, and we're going to continue to talk about it because it really is quite good. It's boosted by the Godfrey Icon, but it's also boosted by the Shard of Alexander, and then you can boost it further if you're at full HP by the Ritual Swords Talisman as well. And you have a couple of options here because the Magic Scorpion Charm also boost it. So there is a lot that can make the weapon stronger, and you can get a considerable amount of damage out of the weapon art. So for the Gargoyle here, we're going to use Terra Magica, obviously, because Terra Magica not only boosts this by 35%, but because the weapon art with the beams is just mainly magic damage, you're basically boosting all of it, not just part of it. It's pretty much pure magic damage, I believe, aside from the frost part. So yeah, you're going to boost it a ton with Terra Magica. You're going to get that full 35%, and it's pretty much viable in all situations. If you're able to set up Terra Magica and then use the beams, you're always going to get more damage out of it. It's a fantastic complement to the Dark Moon Greatsword's beams. And as you can see on the gargoyle, we actually got really good damage out of it. And it was very easy to do too, because the beams come out decently fast and you're able to roll out of the situation quick if you need to dodge too. So it's not that bad. It's not as quick as the Golden Order Greatsword, which we'll be doing for a build for as well soon, but it is still decently fast. And honestly, it's enjoyable because it does do a lot of damage. And magic damage is very easy to boost with things like Terra Magica and the Magic Scorpion Charm and all that. So the fact that we can get even more out of it is fantastic. Well, here's a sort of main game boss. I know I was at the end of the game, so the options were slim, and I didn't want to start over and do some early game bosses. I wanted to take on something a little bit more challenging, so that's why we went for field bosses. And then obviously him here we put to sleep because it's just easier to put him to sleep and see how much damage we can get out of it. And after all the buffs and stuff, this was a very easy way to see the damage on max scaling. He went down fairly quickly. That was actually a lot of damage on the Godskin Noble there. That was quite impressive. I was fairly happy with the damage there. So for our Dark Moon setup, we have the Dark Moon Greatsword plus 10. We're using Lusat staff. We have any seal will do. We have 3 pieces of the Spellblade set on. Dragoncrest Great Shield Talisman, Godfrey Icon, Shard of Alexander, Magic Scorpion Charm, and then we have the Magic tier as well as the Defense tier or the Faith tier if you need the extra 10 levels for buffs. First, I'll show my mage stats of what I did here, and then I'll show you what you can do at 150. For this, I mainly invested in the intelligence stat because you're going to get the most damage out of the beam with that, since it's basically pure magic damage, and the weapon is really an intelligence weapon. It's very much a mage type weapon. I went for 50 vigor, basically the minimum type strength requirements and whatnot. You can throw an extra couple points in there if you want for physical damage, but it doesn't scale that well with strength. It's mainly intelligence, and this is what to do at 150. If you want to pause it, it's exactly how I'd have my stats set up, and then you could save 10 levels with the Faith tier, and that'll give you an extra 10 for the Faith, so you can use things like Golden Vow, Howl, Shabriri, and whatnot. You can actually put your Faith at 23 and get it to 33 with the tier. And for buffs, I'm using Golden Vow, Howl, Shabriri, Blessings Boon if you want to. That'll give you some extra HP along the way. And then we're using Terra Magica after we use the Dark Moon Greatsword's buff. And then we get to use those awesome charge beams, which are really fun to use. Have a lot of, obviously, magic damage and a little bit of frost buildup as well. And that is day 14 of our build today until they announce DLC, or build related video every single day until they announce DLC. We're going to see how far we can go with this. So definitely hit that subscribe button if you want to check that out and all the awesome builds that are on the channel. In the meantime, I hope I did well for the Dark Moon Greatsword. It's pretty awesome in PvE. Obviously, it's pretty good in PvP as well if you haven't tried it yet. So it's pretty fantastic for both. The range you get out of it is excellent, and the fact that you get a little bit of frost buildup and the stance damage, which is hard to come by these days. In the meantime, though, there's a ton of awesome builds on the channel, so be sure to check those out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will catch you guys there.